The steel dragger Susan Rose was raised 1 year after her sinking. This is from the National Fisherman and it was published in November of 2024. The Rhode Island steel trawler Susan Rose was raised from the seafloor a year after sinking off Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. She was removed as a hazard to navigation. Resolve Marine's RMG 400 lift barge brought the Susan Rose to the surface on November the 19th. A year and 2 days after the 2023 grounding, the fishing boat's crew of 4 safely got off onto the beach, dropping down from the deck with the help of Point Pleasant Beach emergency responders. Efforts to defuel, lighten, and salvage the boat began that day, and the Dan Towing 85-foot tugboat Shannon Dan got underway from Staten Island in anticipation of the high tide for the recovery effort. The initial salvage was commissioned by the owner of the Susan Rose. That original plan last year was to move the boat off the beach after its fuel and oil tanks were safely emptied, and then toward the Staten Island shipyard for repair. But during the move, the boat took on water and sank in 48 feet of water, about 3,000 feet off the beach. Built in 1977 in Beulah Battery, Alabama, the 77-foot Susan Rose fished out of Point Judith, Rhode Island, and frequently worked out of other northeast ports depending on the fishing season. The week-long salvage work by Resolve Marine and North Star Marine also involved the Coast Guard and local partner agencies. Before any next step, those authorities will assess the material condition of the Susan Rose, which is tied up in Point Pleasant Beach. The fueled speculation in the port is that the Susan Rose could be bound for the seafloor again, as an addition to an artificial reef. In the summer of 2022, a deckhand on the Susan Rose went overboard in the early morning hours of July the 1st, as the boat was passing Norman's Land on her way to New Bedford. A 2-day Coast Guard search found no signs of the 54-year-old man. I didn't know about the guy that went overboard a year before. That's very sad, that's for sure. When this boat ran aground, the smart thing they did was empty all the tanks. They got all the fuel and the oil off. That was a smart thing. But then refloating the boat went very, very wrong, and somehow they managed to sink her. The internet went ablaze with people condemning the salvage company, and yes, they did screw up. But in my opinion, they should have been mad at the guy who was sitting in the chair when the boat went high and dry on the beach in the first place. That's the person that's responsible for the loss of this boat. I got a message from someone a couple of months ago that said she's going to be part of a reef. I don't know if that's speculation or they know. I think it'd be very difficult to save this boat. She was built in 77. She's pushing 50 years old, and she spent a year on the bottom of the ocean. It would take a lot of work to get her back into fishing condition, that's for sure. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but at least she's been moved from where she accidentally sank. Alright guys, there it is. As always, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. If you're new here and you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you on the next one.